Hello, everybody. I'm going to show you how to set up and how to play a game of Dice Commandos. So first thing we want to do is we want to set up our player area. So we'll set up our player dashboard and we'll grab one of the big red dice and set it on the Fury space, starting at 1. We'll grab all the commandos and just set them out so we can see them all. And then we're going to go ahead and choose a mission. So this is just how to set up the first mission, gather intel. So you'll grab your mission card, set it to the side. You'll always grab a round tracker, whether it's the novice or the advanced side. We'll use the novice now. And then you want to decide whether you're going to use the special buildings on the map tiles or not. So I'll go ahead and use them. So I'll get this special buildings icon reference. And then I'll go ahead and start setting up my map. So you want to do a grid with 1, 2, 3, 4, and A, B, and C. And you're going to look on the mission intel on the mission card, and it's going to tell you which tiles to put out and where to put them. So, like I said, you can either play with the A side, which they're all just kind of blank, or you can play with the B side, which has these special buildings. I'm going to set it up with the B side. So you just want to make sure, whatever side you're setting it up on, that the wall segments match what shows on the mission card. So this one we're going to have a 1, 2, there. All right. Then the next thing you want to do is set up the rest of the map. So the mission card is also going to show us where our starting drop zone is, where the mission objective tokens are going to go, and where the enemy spawn points are going to go. So we'll start with the drop zone right here. It's going to go right there. Then we'll start with the enemy spawn points. We have a circle, triangle goes in there, and the square. And then we're going to do the objectives. So we have the stack of objective tokens here. This is going to be sort of the directives of how you complete the objective. So you're just going to shuffle these, take however many you need randomly, and put them out on the board. So I've got that one, this one, and this one. Okay. Then you're going to want to take 3 of these objective tokens and place them on those. Okay, so now we got those all set up. All right, so now the map is completely set up for this scenario. We're going to go ahead and grab all our card decks and put them out. Grab the events, shuffle those up. At this point, if you want to make it more difficult, we have some advanced difficulty events that you can shuffle in here. You can shuffle as many of those as you want. Otherwise, just do all the regular events and place them close by. Then we're going to do the loadout cards. Go ahead and shuffle all those. Place those close by. And then you're going to choose an enemy type. The base enemy is the insurgents, so it's kind of like the easiest ones to fight. They don't really have any special abilities or anything. You could also fight the cyber apes, berserkers, or the raptors. They all have special abilities. We'll just go ahead and fight the insurgents. Then we have the enemy directive deck. Just needs to be shuffled. You can rotate like half the deck. Shuffle, 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 because these are going to be double-sided, so they want to kind of get rotated as you shuffle them throughout the game. Place that there. You want to have you can grab a separate objective token and place it as your round tracker there. And then we just want to get all the rest of our dice and tokens and stuff and place them in a pool near the rest of the game. So we've got more tokens, all this. If you're fighting a boss, you'd want to go ahead and set the boss up however it says on the mission card. and keep the damage tokens nearby. You can fight him. Okay, so last thing we do to set up is we're going to roll out an enemy on each enemy spawn point. We've got a 1, a 6, and a 2. And then we're going to roll in our commandos. You just roll them all 3 at once. And then you can choose any number of these to re-roll right off the bat. So kind of like this distribution, so I'll just go ahead and keep it here. And we are ready to start. So we'll just move on to the how to play now. So the round tracker has how the round is set up. So we do an event phase, we do the commando phase, which consists of us doing 3 actions. We do the enemy movement phase, the enemy reinforcement phase, and then we just clean up and move to the next round. So we always start with an event. This one has spotlights. At the end of the commando phase, enemies adjacent to tiles with a commando will attack. Okay. So we have 3 actions to do on our turn. These are kind of like a list of the 3 actions you can do on your player board here. So you can move / attack while you're moving. You can deploy, which will roll a commando from your deploy box here back onto the board at one of your drop zones. You can train to re-roll one of your commandos. You can do the objective action, which is always listed on the mission card here. Or you could do a special action. Sometimes actions are found in the event deck, on loadouts, or on your commandos themselves. But you'll notice it will always say action if you are going to be doing an action there. So, all right, so I'll just go over the actions in depth just so you can see how they work. The movement is pretty simple. The dice can move up to their pip value, so they don't have to move the full way, but they can move up to. So the 6 can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mostly for this mission, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to get to the 3 objective points and collect them. So in this instance, I would probably just move my 6 again to get to here and have it set up to get 3 dice to get to this objective eventually. Another action you can do is deploy. So, let me continue movement and let me talk about combat here. So, let's say I had this guy here. So, if I ever move onto a tile with an enemy, it triggers a combat. Okay, and the way combat is going to happen is we're going to roll these dice, assign the black one to the attacker and the white one to the defender, and whoever has the lowest total value will win the combat and stay on the board. The loser will remove their die from the board. If there are multiple enemies on that tile, you will fight them both, and you can choose the order in which you fight them. So in this case, let's say I moved onto this tile. There's 2 enemies there. I'll go ahead and roll these in. The black die is mine, and I'm fighting the 4, by the way. And the white die is there. So here I would have 6 to their 7. They would lose. When I defeat an enemy, I get to raise my Fury by 1. And if this ever gets to 6, it'll reset to 1, and I get a loadout card, which is just good stuff like player powers and abilities that can help you get to the objectives faster. Okay, so if I were to lose that combat, so let's say I fight this 2 next, I got 7 to his 3. I got the higher number, so I lose. I would take my guy off the board, put him in the deploy box, and I would lower my Fury by 1 there because I lost. And they would stay where they are. So that's sort of like movement and combat at the same time. The same thing will happen when the enemies move during their movement phase. If they move onto a tile with one of your commandos, then they trigger a combat as well, except they are the attacker. And also, during combat, the attacker always wins ties. So, all right, so that was move / attack. Deploy would be I can take one of my guys from here, roll him, and put him on one of my drop zones in the game. Okay, so that's just deploy. It costs me an action. Train is also an action, so I can spend an action to re-roll one of my guys until he rolls into something different than what he started as. The objective action in this mission is to gather intel at an objective location. You remove the token, draw a loadout card, and then place a drop zone in that space. So if I were to get 3 dice over to here eventually, which is what it needs, I could spend an action to basically take this token off, set it there, take this, discard it, and place one of my drop zones on here, and also draw a new loadout card. Okay. And that would be one of my 3 objectives that I needed to complete this mission. Okay. Other actions you can do are like special actions. So some special actions are listed on your commandos. This guy has an action where I can place an explosive token on an adjacent tile, and when an enemy moves onto that tile with an explosive token, destroy each enemy in commando on that tile. So the way adjacency works here, so if I had this guy, he's a 1. Both this tile and this tile are adjacent to where the 1 is. So I could spend an action, place this on that tile, and then if an enemy were to move onto this tile, he would immediately defeat himself. If I were to place it here, nothing would happen immediately because the enemies need to move onto the tile. It doesn't matter if they're already there. So if we had this case and during enemy movement, this guy moved here, the explosive token would trigger and actually kill both these guys. And anytime you defeat an enemy, you raise your fury. So that would raise my fury by 2 if I defeated 2 enemies that way. Other actions are going to be on these commandos. You can kind of find out what they are when you see the game a little closer. But yeah, so that's kind of special actions. There could be some of the events and stuff like that. So after the commando phase, we then go to enemy movement. And the way this works is you're going to move each enemy that's on the board. And you're always going to start with the leftmost column, and you're going to go top to bottom. So right here, we would move the 1, and he would move towards A2. Okay, and he only moves 1 space. He follows the same rule as my dice. And then we'd move this guy, because he's the next column in line. And he would move towards B3. So he always picks the shortest route towards where he's going. So this guy would go 1, 2. That is B3 here. So he would actually end his movement right there. He wouldn't move any further. And then this guy would move towards A2. He would go 1, 2. He would end his movement there. These buildings on the board, so the way a map tile looks is it has these individual spaces on them, and it has wall segments that you can't cross. You have to go around. But on this B side of these tiles, it also has these special buildings. So these kind of serve 2 purposes. One, they are considered one single space. And then also, they have abilities where if the enemy ends their turn on those buildings, or if during combat they're on those buildings, or sometimes you can go to those buildings and trigger them to do good stuff for you. So yeah, just kind of your preference whether or not you want to play with those. All right, so that was enemy movement. Again, if an enemy were to move onto a tile with my commandos, there would be combat that happens. Then we go to enemy reinforcement. So let's say we have only 1 guy on the board left. Enemy reinforcement, we would look at where the round tracker currently is, what track it's on. In this yellow area, the limit of enemy dice on the board is 3. So we'd always try to get back up to that limit there. If you made this down to the orange area, then the limit would then move up to 4. And on the back of this, on the advanced, we actually have a red area where the limit can be up to 5. So here, during enemy reinforcement, we see there's only 1 enemy. The limit is 3, so we would roll out 2 enemies. And the way you do that is you just look at the back of this enemy directive deck, and it's going to have one of the 3 symbols of where they would spawn at. So the first guy's going to spawn at the square, and then you would flip one of those cards. The next guy's going to spawn at the circle. Just roll him in there, and then you're good. You have 3 enemies on the board now. There are stuff that will ignore the limit, like there's some events that can put guys out, stuff like that would ignore the limit of guys printed right here and just populate as much as it could. All right, so after that, we just move our round tracker forward. We would ready any of our loadout equipment that needs to be readied. And then we'd start a new round by drawing a new event. So the only other difference is if you're playing a mission with a boss, you have a couple more things to worry about with this boss. And usually the mission objective is going to be to actually defeat the boss by dealing damage to him. So um, that I think is about it. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave them below. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the setup and how to play for Dice Commandos. And we'll look forward to getting this game out to you guys. All right.